What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. And on today's episode, we'll be previewing the Bulls game against the 76ers, which is in about an hour and a half. We'll also be talking about Ayo's big bucket and game-clinching dunk against the Indiana Pacers. We'll get into all that and more right after this. All right, Bulls fans. So, I know I left you guys without a dope pod to step two. My bad. Hey, you know what? Everybody has to take a day off at some point in time. So that was my day off after the last game. We got news today. Zach LaVine actually will not be playing against the Philadelphia 76ers. So that is a huge blow against a team that, again, another nationally televised game against a team that is one of the best teams in the East. And many do have as the favorite to come out the East. I guess not as much right now, but so it's going to be a big hit not having Zach LaVine today. But one thing that the Bulls did show, again, against lesser competition against the Pacers, is that, when they play together, when they play with heart, this team has heart to compete with anybody. And I say that, I know some people have really come down on that with the recent stretch of games, and since we're missing Lonzo and missing Caruso, but I really trust this team's ability to play. Now, that doesn't mean they always play up to that ability. We're going to need a big game from Vooch tonight. We're going to need Vooch to really come in and be dominant down low, as dominant as he can be. More than dominant, I guess I should say, insert himself physically down in the post. We're going to need a great game from DeMar. We're going to need a contribution from Ayo, and we're going to need good Kobe. At least from what I've seen, it doesn't look like Kobe's going to be out this game. So this is going to be a game where Kobe has to step up. Kobe White has to step up in this game, and we need him if we're going to have a chance to win against the Sixers. We do know that if Billy Donovan wants to coach in the All-Star game, we're going to need wins tonight and against Phoenix tomorrow. So we'll see what the Bulls can do. Well, I don't think it's a Phoenix game. I think that they clinch it if they win today. But so all those storylines, all those things going in, the storyline stays the same. As far as what we need to see from the Bulls for the Bulls to win this game, we need to see them locked in defensively. Again, we don't have the one-on-one defenders that we're missing. We all know that, but we need to be locked in on team defense. How they play on offense as well. Do they feed Vooch down in the middle? Is Vooch able to be productive down there? The rebounding battle. This is going to be a game where the rebounding battle is key in whatever the Bulls are going to be able to do. I know that the Bulls don't typically do a lot of the offensive rebounding, and if that's going to be the case, if they're still going to play that game in which they basically seed every offensive rebound for the most part, they're going to have to go hard after the defensive glass and get as many take as many second chance points away. Joel Embiid is how they guard Joel Embiid as a team. Again, this is not about one-on-one guarding Joel Embiid. It's going to be telling for how difficult this game's going to be for the Bulls. What do they do about the players around on the Sixers as well? This is going to be a tough game. This is not going to be an easy game. I won't even say that I'm predicting a win tonight. But the Bulls need to show up on both sides of the ball for us to even be in that conversation and not have another blowout on national TV. That's what we want to try to avoid. And so, that's where we sit right now. One thing that I do also want to talk about before I leave for today, again, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter video because I'm giving you guys everything else today. As far as you're gonna get your halftime hangout, you're gonna get your post game live. But with that being said, I want to talk about Ayo's game clinching dunk. First of all, the fact that the game before that he did make a mistake in crunch time that contributed to the Bulls losing. I know there are some people who are blaming that loss completely on Ayo Dosunmu, and that's just not facts. But it definitely contributed to it. So now seeing, him come back in the next game and really play good down the stretch and have that clinching dunk is just huge. And it was good to see him. Ayo just continues to shine. It continues to show that he is just somebody who is going to be huge for us, period. Like, I love Ayo. I know there's some chatter about Ayo and him potentially needing to be a starter over Lonzo because of his playmaking. And I'm not a person who goes into that. I understand why some Bulls fans are going into that. But as good of a defender as Ayo is, he's not the defender that Lonzo Ball is right now. Doesn't mean he can't be at some point, but right now. Also, I will say this, on the flip side of that, we have seen Ayo sometimes get nervous in crunch time or games getting close, or if he hasn't shot the best, he really gives up shooting at that point. We don't have to worry about that with Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball is still the better player, right? And I think also when you add into the fact that Lonzo's full skill set has not been unlocked here in the Chicago Bulls. I know the Lonzo fans and stans are going to eat that up and go off about that in the comments. And I'm not saying it as harsh as they are going to go off about it, but I will say it just hasn't been. Not to the level that I thought it was going to be coming into the season. Now, I've already talked about heavily why that happens with the makeup of this team, But at the end of the day, it kind of is what it is. And we'll continue to see it. Hopefully Kobe does play tonight. Hopefully we get another big game from Ayo tonight. And I know some people have now started kicking up. Can Ayo squeak in to the Rookie of the Year conversation? I think it's going to be very hard. There's almost no chance of him winning. He would have to go on a tear from here until, and he could very well be the starter for the most part of the rest of the season, right? We know that if Lonzo is out that full 8-week period, he may not come back till 10 games in. So Ayo very well could be our starter for the basically the rest of the regular season outside of a handful of games. And I do think he's going to get some votes. What would need to happen for it to actually go down? Listen, it's way too much. It's way too much. One thing that has come out today as well that I do want to talk about is that it says that the Boston Celtics have a trade offer on the table from the Chicago Bulls. Now, again, I've already said this. I don't necessarily believe that. I think a lot of it's noise. But I will say this, and I've said this before, I maintain this. If the Bulls trade for Dennis Schroeder, it means that one of our guards is being traded. And that is what's the biggest, question mark. And then not necessarily the Schroeder trade, is what other deal is coming if that deal happens. That's the biggest question for me. What do the Bulls continue to do to improve this team and things like that? I trust this front office, as I hope a lot of you guys are as well. And that's where we stand right now. But that's it, because I wanted to get this video out. I want to get prepared for the game. Let's get hype. The Bulls going to need our support and energy and everything else. The Bulls have a huge test coming up in an hour against the Philadelphia 76ers. I'll be here at halftime hangout as well as after the game, post game, and break it down. Talk to you guys about it. Like I like to end everything on. Oh, first, make sure you're following the podcast at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text or a voicemail, you can do so at 773-270-2799. Like I like to end every show on. Go Bulls. Love you guys. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.